Okay.
Well, welcome everybody to Lev Remembers Daily Show, where we bring you an insider's perspective on all the latest breaking news involving Russia, Ukraine, and of course, our President Donald Trump and his administration. And boy, do we have some breaking news today. If you haven't seen what's going on, it's a whirlwind. And we're going to break it all down today. We have Grant Stern, who everybody knows is the executive editor of Occupy Democrats. And we also have Alex Bolbear. Alex Bolbear is a dedicated volunteer from Kiev who's been helping the people of Ukraine since the aggression of the Russian war has started. He's been tirelessly supporting those in need while living with his family in the heart of the conflict. So, hi, guys. And
Hello, everybody.
you know
Hey
what?
guys, how's it going?
Let's just dive right into it. Grant, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, there was just so much to unpack there. I mean, anybody that's watched it. First of all, let's start off with the latest breaking news that Trump has just told Zelensky to go home. That he is to come back when he's ready to cut a deal. So basically, there's not going to be a press conference. Zelensky is not going to be, continue this, and we don't know where this is going to go from here.
Actually, we do. So let's all be real here. Donald Trump has the memory of a goldfish. If Zelensky showed up on Monday and said, you know what, Donald, you're the greatest leader in American history, he would go, that's great. Let's sign the deal now. Okay. There's no consequences for standing up to Donald Trump, and there never are, right? Never, ever, never. But what did Zelensky get from this? Everything he wanted. No more peace talks. We're not ready for peace. Mineral deal. Let's go talk to the Europeans. This was a colossal strategic move by Zelensky. And I think that this is the next step. He's going to go to the Europeans, say he's got some sort of deal with them. Now you've got to match it. And they'll keep raising the bar until Donald Trump either goes along, or else, because he really has to. Americans don't want World War III, as he so succinctly put it. And it puts him on the hook. You're the one causing World War III, Donald Trump, the one that said that would happen if we can't get some peace in Ukraine. This was a brilliant play by Zelensky.
I agree with you 100%. I think Zelensky came here, everybody thought he's coming here to bow down to Donald Trump, but I think he came here to actually tell him that we're not going to bow down. I think over the past few days, the conversations he's had with Macron and some of the other leaders, the new German leader coming in is very strong and passionate about, the Europeans standing strong, and supporting Ukraine. And, you had the UK, prime minister here yesterday. You had so I think they've given Zelensky enough confidence and
Macron.
Macron, exactly,
he's
and basically
he's intense. Macron, built the relationship there and used it.
And I'll tell you, for better or worse, even though this peace deal that they're talking, this mineral deal, excuse me, that they're talking about, I'm glad that nothing got signed, because I think it was a trap that for Donald Trump to step into that the Russians were setting him up to. I think that's where he got the idea from. I think that's what, because we'll get into later about the real relationships behind the scene with Jared Kushner, and I'm sure Alex has some information to tell us about some of the Russian counterparts that Jared Kushner is talking with behind the scenes that are influencing where Donald Trump's opinions are going towards Ukraine and how it's going. So I think that's a good thing that today they're the mineral deal that I got said for all of world, especially the United States and Ukraine, because I think it was a trap being set up by the Russians of Vladimir Putin. But wow, let me tell you, the other thing that's interesting. I mean, this was yeah. Go ahead.
Wouldn't you say that? Go, yeah, Alex. I want to hear from you, but
yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
think that
Alex.
Zelensky turned their trap into a trap for Donald Trump.
This is exactly what I was going, because this was a double deal here. And you both right, and Grant, you're 100% right also with the outcome of it. But it was a trap set up by Trump for Zelensky, so he can show the world that Zelensky doesn't want the peace. And that's why Vance provoked him, and that's why they started the whole thing. But he got flipped the other way around.
Wait a second, Alex. That's interesting. Hold on a second, Alex. So you think Trump and this was a setup between Trump and JD Vance to basically trap Zelensky into doing it. That's an interesting. Grant, I didn't
That's a
think
black
about
and
that.
white. You can see it.
Because I looked at it from a standpoint. Let me tell you, that's an interesting perspective, because I was looking from a standpoint. Hey, here is Zelensky, standing up to Vance, because Vance put his foot in his mouth and for no reason got involved in telling basically you should be appreciative of what you're doing or whatever the case is. And next thing you know, Zelensky in and Trump was just watching this thing play out.
That's
But
why he was there.
but
That's why he was there.
Graham, what do you think about that? That's interesting. I mean, to
Look,
to set.
This is
You
we're
think
seeing is, number one, the limits of a public, individual centered, executive centered diplomacy, right? Donald Trump telegraphs all of his intentions at all times, right? There's like no secrets. And so you know how to deal with him if you're walking in the door. It's just a matter of how aggressive do you want to be, number one. Number two, he's incredibly prone to flattery. He doesn't care that you've embarrassed him one day. You could say he's nice the next, and he'll just be like, "Oh, you said that I was nice." Right? And number three here. Yeah, he's and number three, this is like the last stage of turning international. Like, he's turned our politics into this really, really like theater for dummies. And I mean, he's like trying to turn international diplomacy into the WWE, and it's working because people have no choice. If he's out there tweeting, well, what they're going to do is they're going to go say exactly to him what's on their mind, right to his face. Okay, they're turning him into the troll that Taylor Swift made that incredible song about.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
I'm sorry, Lev, let me just add one more thing. And all along, from day one, when he got inaugurated, Donald Trump said, first, I'm going to meet with Putin, and then I'm going to meet with Zelensky. And Zelensky overplayed it. He met Zelensky first. He had
that's right.
He flipped that. He flipped that. And
all of it. This was all just to get in the door.
He came on the mission. He knew what he wanted. And instead, he just reacted to it. But he was provoked. Vance definitely provoked him.
No, Vance definitely. Yeah.
They led him down the primrose path, and Donald Trump is a very simple thinker. He's not like a chess player, right? It's all gut. And he just thinks it's going to happen. And he thinks it's going to happen the next time. And the next time, he's like a shark. He's swimming. He just wants to keep eating with his mouth open. Doesn't sleep. Doesn't think. Just got to keep moving.
Well, the interesting part is what happens next. I mean, what happens next? I mean, Zelensky's getting in that car, is getting out of there. You have Trump that's gonna basically. I mean, I told him that he's ungrateful. I mean, him and Vance basically berate. I mean, for those of you that have not seen, we're trying to bring it up here and see if the technical guys could bring up. If I'm trying to figure out, I'm not good at this, to see if we could get a recording of this, of what played out in the Oval for you guys to see. But I mean, there was some serious berating going on, and some serious, basically telling Zelensky. I mean, there are like comments like, "You can't win, you have no cards to play without us. If you don't sign the deal, we're out." I mean, though, there was a lot of like basically and then the crazy part.
That's all posturing. It's all posturing.
Yeah.
100%.
No, I don't disagree with it, but in front of the whole world to watch, and and Trump even made a comment that said, I let it play out because I want the whole public to see. I mean, what did he mean by that? I mean,
well, he wants to see the public. He wants the public to see that he played himself, and that he's absolutely the least qualified statesman in the history of the United States. And I think that did work. He said some mean things, but I think anybody who watched it saw that Zelensky was the one who provoked them into spasms. I mean, and he wasn't doing it by being mean. He was just actually telling the truth. He was fact checking them.
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
and
Zelensky just wanted to respond to basically Vance and say, wait a second. I mean, you're making these statements where you're saying there has to be some sort of a diplomacy. What kind of diplomacy? We've tried to have diplomacy with them. I've met with Putin. We've signed the agreements, and he invaded us and continues. So, what kind of diplomacy are you talking? And that's what flipped
Well,
this whole thing around, where all of
right,
a
but he
sudden Vance
basically
got so upset, where he's basically, you need to apologize. How dare you come here disrespect the president? like
no, no, no,
instead
no. It was
like,
brilliant because he drew the solid attention. The thing that was the trigger
I
was
wish I
him
could be
saying,
getting you.
"You guys are
Yeah.
appeasing." He basically highlighted their appeasement strategy, like he made them look as weak as humanly possible, and he said it along the lines of, "Well, I'm fighting a war, and you guys are like, we need to be more diplomatic about this with the guy who started the war." He made them look as pathetically weak as humanly possible.
Oh yeah.
There's no other take on that. And even Trump's crowd is going to wake up tomorrow and realize their guy is he's a little kitten in a world of tigers.
Well, it's going to
but
be one of
also,
two
I'm
things.
sorry.
Go ahead,
Also,
Alex.
I believe that the last words from Vance was "You are wrong," and that's the last thing he said because he wanted to get that out, and then Trump caught it, so it would stay that way. And the last thing that Trump said that how how can I stop the war when this guy hates him so much? How can we stop the war? So he kind of brought up in front of everybody that
Well, he's
see,
just
I'm doing the best I can, but they hate each other. How am I
no,
supposed to
but it's
stop
not even that. It's not even that. It's that this gets him out of the the business of negotiating on Zelensky's behalf, which is the worst thing possible.
So wait a second, Grant. Let me wait a second. Hold on. Do you think Trump this was a setup? Like because Alex brought out something saying that him and Vance plan to provoke Zelensky into getting this. So do you also think this is the case to get Trump out of basically because maybe I mean I'm starting to think about the way you guys are talking about it. I mean maybe Trump
This was a
started
reverse
realize
trap.
Yeah, reverse exactly. Reverse. This was a reverse.
interesting.
This is kind of like the beginning of one of the Star Wars movies where the Obi-Wan walks in and says, "I think this is a trap," and and the other one says, "Yeah, let's spring it," because like Zelensky knew that he's walking into a trap. This whole mineral deal, like they talked about the history of this. There's actually a lot of history of these bad deals that have been signed over the hundreds of years in Europe to end wars, the kind of deals that lead to other wars and other mass tragedies and whatnot. And so what Donald Trump is proposing is some very old stuff. I mean, when Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again, like he actually wants us to bring us back to like the mid 19th century. Okay. And there's been decades and decades of bad treaties, and all the bad treaties were very punitive, right? And so that's what Donald Trump is trying to do because Putin's giving him some good ideas about the bad ideas of the past. I mean, you got to admit, Donald Trump isn't exactly one to sit around and study, the conspiracies of 1848 or the Napoleonic
Oh no,
Wars, right?
he has no clue about that. I mean,
But this is 1938 Neville Chamberlain, and
Yeah.
hold on a second.
Zelensky
Hold on a second.
just
Wait,
lit him up for it.
Trump just put something up on Truth. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion. Oh, and they broke it. Can you find that up there, Grant? Because
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
Neville. Yeah, let me get it. I have it right here. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for capital P peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations, which it would if that was the case 6 months ago. I don't want advantage. I want all caps peace. He disrespected the United States of America and its cherished Oval Office.
That's a, that's the new.
Anyone?
I mean, that's
He
a
can
new
come
thing.
back. He can come back when he is ready for capital P peace.
Oh my god, that's going to be the new rally cry for MAGA. That Zelensky came here to disrespect the Oval, and he's going to basically got kicked out. Wow, I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean,
it's great because you know this. I'm telling you, this is his Neville Chamberlain moment. It's so weak.
It is, but he, I'm sure he understands what happens next. Lev said, "What's next?" Next is already happening. Next has been happening ever since the new chancellor was upheld in Germany. The whole movement started. They're forming new alliance. It's all over Europe. It's all over Europe, and the Ukraine is part of that alliance. It's Britain, France, and Germany. They're forming their own alliance. They're going to be on top because they're nuclear power, and they're forming new, where Ukraine is going to be part of the ground troops because they have the army, and they have the army that can protect the ground, and France and UK that they have other capabilities. So this is what's been forming for over a week already in Europe.
Well, the thing is that Russia is definitely weakened, like significantly weakened. You know, they can go out there and bully Ukraine and blow up a lot of Ukrainian civilians
Not
and
anymore.
target electricity. Yeah, not anymore. But I'm saying they've gone out and done all this terrible thing
Yep.
to a country that's a quarter of its size population wise. Um, but Europe is much bigger, and they've got a lot of advanced warfare technology.
And they
And this
woke
is
up.
not the kind of thing that a swarm of drones is going to really help with when a fighter bomber is coming down on your position and dropping everything. I mean, Europe has a lot more defenses, and so at this point, I mean, they're catalyzing the Europeans to unite, which has always been their difficulty, right?
the more and more you guys keep talking, the more and more I keep thinking to myself, did Trump just figure out a unique way of getting himself out of this mess he got himself into by trying to say he's going to end this war and
On day
supporting
one,
Putin and everything on day one by basically,
he didn't get himself out of the mess. He's actually stuck right in it. I mean, I think he's
well, I
neck
mean, I
deep
think
in it.
I agree with you. I think he's neck deep into it, but I see Trump now coming back to Putin and saying to him, "Listen, I tried, but this guy Zelensky, he's a nut. He's crazy. You see, I'm trying to get him to do something, but I can't get him to the table." And that's why I think the most dangerous thing, and we have to be careful because I think the next thing that comes out of this, if Trump is really aligned with Putin, and Putin is really for the next step that Trump and the mega and Vance and Pompeo, I'm not Pompeo, I keep remember Rubio. The next thing they're going to push is elections and to get Zelensky out. To be able to get him out. If that is the case, then it's a definite. There's nothing else to discuss about. Trump is so deep with Russia. I mean, even though I know there's already, very hard to, play it off. But otherwise, I could tell you this much: this could be a very creative way. If what you and Alex are saying is correct, then this was a setup because, well, I'll tell you, yeah. I mean, if you go back to look at Vance came out and just started antagonizing Zelensky. Zelensky tried to respond to Vance. They have a back and forth, and then all of a sudden Trump jumps into it and says, "Oh, how dare you?" Because the first couple of times you heard Vance, every time he would respond to Zelensky, he would add into it, "You're disrespecting our president and you're disrespecting the Oval." Like, this was one of those, where you're on the as kids on the playground and you're getting attacked by a bigger person and you're trying to get your friend involved. You're like, wait a second, you're attacking not just me, you're attacking him also. Hey, Trump, get into this thing. And then you saw Trump jump into it, and then it was just pure, like, he just it was I think it was embarrassing to watch him.
Trump embarrassed the hell out of himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
saying how he wouldn't insult Putin, yet last week he insulted Zelensky. I mean, as much as he pretends, like, he actually ignored a question about this recently, and as much as he pretends to not know, the goldfish does have a longer memory, even though that's his thing. He's a weirdo. I think Zelensky is playing him like a fiddle, and what he really needed is to avoid Donald Trump doing to Ukraine what he did to Afghanistan. We all saw that.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Lev,
he.
I'll tell you. I'm sorry. I
Go
want
ahead,
to add.
Alex. Go
I
ahead,
want to
Alex.
add to what you said about the Trump is going to try to pressure the election. The only the only reason he was even talking about the election is because of this deal. If there is no deal, he has no say so about the election. He can suggest, but he's not part of it already because everything's on hold right now. So he can't really even push it.
Yeah, but him and his mega base have a major megaphone. I mean, they could put a lot of pressure. You know, if all of a sudden they start trying to say push, yeah, and that's the problem. If they start pushing Russian propaganda, which we all seen how they pushed during the elections here, I mean, we see how deep and how far that push goes. So, I mean, obviously, it would be very difficult. But again, difficult with who? Because at the end of the day, you guys are both. I agree with you 100% that at the end of the day that Zelensky got his approval from the what's it called Europeans, and he's not really worried about having the United States right now, and he didn't come here to grovel and beg and get on his knees. I think he came here to basically say, listen, we're willing to sign this whatever letter of intent, whatever mineral deal you do, but we need to, I want you to give me a verbal, even if you're not going to put it on paper. I want you to look at me and tell me that you're really going to protect or you're going to do something. What's the next steps, basically? And so the whole key here, did this thing unravel because JD Vance is just an idiot and stepped into it, or
No, no,
No.
was this more of a planned, a strategical way of getting Trump out of? I mean, he's still in it, so he's not like out of it, but giving him at least a little time reprieve with the situation, because now he could blame and say, "Look, I've
let's
tried. I did everything. I brought him to the White House. I did all of this, and this guy is just a maniac. Ukraine needs to get rid of him. They need to hold elections there. They need a president that wants peace." So and ramble on to that too, because that's what I'm seeing might be going the route that they're
well
going.
let me talk about this for a couple of minutes and then I
Yeah,
have to
good.
hop off. But
Yeah.
how familiar are you with the concept of reactive control?
Not too. Tell me, fill me in.
So this is actually a big Russian military doctrine, and you'll understand why in a second. Reactive control is when you provoke a response to see what the response is. Then, when you learn what the provoked response is to any given stimuli, you use that to your advantage and attack the response. And you provoke the response and then attack the response to cause to get your enemy to expose after your enemies expose their intentions. So it's like you try to cross this bridge, the enemy floods in to stop you. You prepare an ambush. You try to cross the bridge again. They flood in to stop you. You attack them as they're flooding in, right? This is Russian military doctrine, but it's a well-known technique for dealing with others. And this is exactly what Zelensky did here. Reactive control. Think about this. 5 years ago, in a certain incident that I think you have a little bit of familiarity with, Donald Trump wanted Zelensky to cut a deal that he knew Zelensky would not want to cut, right? And how did Zelensky respond? Playing it off, pushing it off, just kind of like pretending like it wasn't there, like doing what you have to do to kind of like sideline it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Donald Trump is expecting that now, that Zelensky has a more difficult situation and all the other things, that he'll either do that or he'll sign the deal. So Zelensky is expecting Trump is expecting the reaction that he'll sign the deal. Zelensky knows that Trump is expecting this. And so he gets the meeting and makes sure to draw in all the cameras this time. The last time he didn't go on CNN and said, Donald Trump asked me to make a false statement, but I won't do it. But this time he reactively controlled Trump. He basically got Trump to get the CNN moment that he wanted. Right? He gave him the CNN moment that Donald Trump wanted. This was what Donald Trump
Yeah.
wanted more than anything, to be the peacemaker who kept his big promise. And he used that against him.
Yeah, no, I think
Boom.
I think you're right. I think, and I think Donald Trump, like Alex said previously, is underestimating the Ukrainian people. He's underestimating Zelensky. I think, is thinking because Zelensky is a comedian, and
He's
he
a
also
two-dimensional thinker.
yeah, exactly, and he also remember he thinks he doesn't hasn't seen Zelensky in 4 years. Like he's still remembering the Zelensky that we were pressuring, that he sent me to pressure to announce an investigation to Biden, which he barely knew on his way out. And so it's not like they had some kind of a relationship. They had no relationship. It wasn't a good one to begin with, and then they haven't seen each other in the past 4 years or 5 years, and here they are. So listen, I want to first of all thank you, Grant. I want to thank Alex. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to thank the audience that's out there watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lev Remembers. Also subscribe to my Substack. I will be going on live and doing lots of videos, having incredible guests. We're going to have some behind the scenes. The purpose of this is not just to break the news and discuss it, but the purpose is to get the inside look, because there's certain things that I have an inside look at, like, my relationship with Donald Trump and his administration, my relationship with Vladimir Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, and my relationship with the Russian people and Vladimir Putin. There's nobody out there that could give you more of an inside look than me. I've spent plenty of time. So please subscribe, tune in, and we're going to be going live. We're going to be putting our content every day to get it out to you. And thank you. And again, thanks, Grant. Thank you, Alex. It's an incredible, crazy day. There's a lot of things that are going to be breaking. We might be going live again. So stay tuned and just keep your notifications on. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Victor, turn it off.